You've probably seen him on TikTok or maybe on YouTube Shorts, the homeless man with a golden voice. Or maybe you haven't. In both cases, I'm here to tell you his story. And stay till the very end for a bonus fact. Brooklyn, New York. The man with a golden voice was born Theodore Fred Williams on the 22nd of September 1957 in the midst of the downfall of Brooklyn. Fred's father was a Jehovah's Witness and his mother was a Baptist. With Christianity playing such an important part in his parents' life, it is not a surprise that they sent him to a religious school. Yet, despite all their efforts, they would not be able to protect their son from what was to come later. The birth of a lifelong passion. 1971. Theodore is now 14 years old and is on a field trip. He'd always been tuning to the radio stations, but on that trip, he would have a life-changing surprise. This came in the form of an encounter with a radio announcer whose voice Fred was familiar with. In his imagination, he built up a man that would match that voice. However, when they came face to face, the man looked nothing like what Fred had imagined. This sparked something in the teenager. If that man could develop such a voice, so could he. He could even surpass him. The war days. Fred served 3 years in the army. And even though he did not engage in combat, the man sure had a wild ride. You see, Fred was honorably discharged from the army. And you best believe that was not for his exemplary conduct. He was more of a trickster. One of the many stunts he pulled was having a love affair with an officer of a higher rank than he was. How he did it? By assuming a military rank that was not his. He pretended to be someone else. He eventually got caught though, and the woman made him pay for fooling her. 1980. After the army, Fred wanted to pick things back from where he left. Step 1. He enrolled into a school for voice acting. Step 2. He started working night shifts at the radio 92.9, a local station in the Columbus metro area, which mainly played soul music. With this new move, the future looked bright for the young Ted Williams, right? The birth of the golden voice. Ted was a disc jockey at WVKO, and for some reason, the audience just connected with him. Was it his voice, or was it his personality that transpired through the radio? Probably a mix of both. During his time at WVKO, Fred would do whatever he wanted. He would play the same track 3 times in the space of an hour, despite his boss clearly telling him to just play it once per hour. William would impersonate fellow radio presenters and say silly things. He would even lock himself in the recording studio just to play his favorite records. He even got fired once or twice. Anyways, one time he got fired, and the next day, listeners of WVKO protested outside of the radio station. They had no choice but to hire him back. The man was untouchable. 1986, a free dive into addiction. Up until now, Fred had been living his dreams, but he had some demons that had started to take the best of him. Over time, the liquor and the drugs torn his life apart. He lost his job and his house. By 1994, he was living on the streets, going from shelter to shelter, living in abject poverty. Williams had to resort to petty crimes to survive in those days. He had many run-ins with the law. He'd been arrested on several occasions. for possession of illegal substance, theft, escape, and robbery. As a result, he went in jail twice. The first time was for 3 months, and the second time was for 2 months. Let's just say that the days ahead looked grim. At that point, it will be an understatement to say that he was neck deep in the mud.
But recently, there's been this guy with an interesting sign at I-71 and Hudson Street. His handwritten sign says he has the God-given gift of a great voice.
Hey, I'm going to make you work for your dollar. Say something with that great radio voice.
When you're listening to nothing but the best of oldies, you're listening to Magic 98.9.
The world meets the man with a golden voice. This short clip took the internet by storm. Overnight, everybody wanted to know more about the man with a golden voice. Not only that, donations started to flow. Job offers, interviews, things were looking better than they'd ever been before. On January of 2011, an NBA team offered him a voice-over job and a home. On the 7th of January 2011, he was hired by the MSNBC as a voice-over actor for the network. He appeared on CBS, the early morning show. Williams was even interviewed on Today. The man's life literally did a 360, but the demons from the past were still hunting him. Since 2008, Fred did not touch drugs or alcohol, but all this attention he had received because of the fame got him to go back to his old habits. However, Fred was determined to stay on the right path, so he agreed to go to rehab. Dr. Phil actually arranged for him to go to one of his facilities. However, only 12 days later, Williams checked out of the place. Why, you say? Well, let's just say that whole treatment was a little scripted. He still showed respect to Dr. Phil by expressing his gratitude and maintaining that he would do his best to get better and that Dr. Phil's effort wouldn't be in vain. Not long after, Fred was back in the game. He rose from his ashes and was back on his feet. Not only that, he was ready for success. Fred appeared on TV a couple of times after that and was permanently hired by Kraft Macaroni and Cheese and a bunch of other voiceover acting gigs. Where is he now? Well, the man with the golden voice is alive and well. And most importantly, he gets to wake up every day and does what he loves to do. He even has a YouTube channel. It's called The Ted Williams Show. You should check it out. Guys, thank you for watching this video up to this point. You guys are the real deal. Now, the bonus fact. Did you know that Fred Williams announced that he was running for president in the 2016 elections? But then, when he heard that Donald Trump was a candidate, he withdrew his candidacy out of frustration. Now, isn't that crazy? Imagine for a second the man with a golden voice as president of the United States. That would be something to talk about. What do you guys think? Could he have pulled it off? Let me know in the comment section. Until next time, have a good one.